All right. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Advanced Pilates. Today, we are going to start laying down onto your back with footwork to begin our work into that advanced series. So you can roll down if you're not there already into your upper up curl. Press the legs together. And we're going first into a frog position, heels together, knees apart. Hands support the back of your skull. Pull the head up and pull the elbows forward and down. We push out with the legs, inhale and exhale, return. Inhale, reach long, stretch the legs together and pull them back in. Try to press your waistline down into the mat here. Lengthen and frog back. Don't let your head fall backwards. Take the legs high enough so you can keep that upper up curl the same. Do one more. Come in now, parallel legs, soft point with your feet, and you reach out. The toes melting off the end of the body as you push the legs forward and back. The height of your legs, again, depending on your ability to keep the spine stable here. As you lengthen, reach out and stretch the knees open, the hips open, pull in and you find flexion at the knee and the hip. One more like that. Now flex the feet, pushing out with the heels. Should start to feel your abs burning a little bit now. You're pulling the head up and keeping the gaze tipped down and in towards your belly. Deep flexion at the ankles, the outside edges of the feet pull back, the inside edges of the feet push forward, and the legs themselves are glued together, reaching forward and back. One more. Come in and then extend the legs up, go a little higher. Inhale to point the feet, exhale to flex, rolling heel ball toe and pulling back toe ball heel. So you work through sort of a high heeled position with your feet. Let the weight of your legs drop deep into the sockets and still keep coming up. Find a little bit more upper ab work if you've fallen back. Everything lets go unless you re-engage it, right? So keep working there. And then point and we circle the arms around to start your hundreds. Pumping here, inhaling and exhaling. This is the joy of the advanced work. You get a lot of core work from the very beginning and it just keeps going. So you're lengthening up through the soft feet. Think of stream of water like your legs are hoses. The water pours out from the area right at the center of the foot, under the third metatarsal, the third ball of your foot. Stretching long with the arms, keep it a steady pulse, reach forward with the fingertips. Picture that you could actually move your arms so far forward that you pull the scapula around towards the front of your body. You hold your torso steady because you're pumping not from the hands, but actually from the collarbones right at the edge of your sternum in the middle of the front of your body. Let's just go for one more breath. Create a little breeze in the room with the movement of your arms, and then fold the legs in, lay your head down, stretch the legs out, and the arms rise. We're coming up for roll up. So we can bring the arms back, then start to lift them, coming up head, neck, shoulder, exhale, pull, rounding forward, diving here, stretch out your back. That feels so good. Take a bow, letting your head fall towards your knees, and then lengthening forward with your legs, roll back. The arms at a higher level as you progress in your work here. And as your body starts to warm up, stretch behind you, open up your lat. And then we bring yourself forward and up, exhale, coming up, 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 exhale. Give yourself a little imaginary pound in the back for getting there and then going back down. Stretch the tail forward as you roll down over your spine, inch by inch, vertebra by vertebra. And we lift again. It should get a little easier each time. We're hoping for that. And in fact, as the body opens up, it does. And then back we go. Lengthen out through the center of each foot. Roll yourself down to the floor. And we'll do just one more. Exhale before you need it. If you wait to when you need it, you're not going to come up as easily. Suck the waist back into the curve of your spine. And down we go. The arms higher makes it more difficult to establish control on the way down. Feel that work in your abs releasing eccentrically to bring you to the floor. Arms circle around. We're going to lift up into rollover next. So you bend your knees into your chest. You lift the legs up. They're together. You stretch them forward a little bit to your working level. And then press the arms, bring the legs up and over, ideally parallel to the ground. Now at this point, the tail is lifting up. You're not compressing your waist. Open the legs, flex the feet. Roll the spine down, reaching back through your heels. Press into your arms, the legs apart as you bring them forward. Soft point, then close, go over with them together. Push down to lift. The legs stay low here, parallel to the ground in your mind, flex open and down we go. Reach out through your halo as you pull forward with your tail. Find resistance to gravity on the way down. Reach the legs out to, again, wherever you can go without arching the spine. Lift up again, last one in this direction. Open, flex, and down you go. Feel the stretch into the calves because you're reaching back through your heels so much that you lengthen the back line of your calf muscles. Close the legs, point. Now open. So we do 3 sets now with the legs apart in a soft point on the lift. And then once we're up in the air, you close the legs and flex, and then go down from there. Try to pull the legs closer to your body so you get more stretch in the hamstrings and the low back. Then reach the legs out, point, open, not very far, maybe 4 to 5 inches, like the width of your hips. Close, flex, and down we go again. While the tail is going up, the waist is long. You pull the legs close to your face as much as you can. Drag it down, feeling an increasing stretch in the hamstrings. The legs reach to your working level. Point, open, last one. Going up and over, exhaling through that. Close, flex. You can start with an inhale to lower the upper back. Use your exhale so you slow down. The body wants to accelerate as you go further from your shoulders with the weight of your hips. And now let's lower the left leg down. The right leg is going to stay up in the air. Soft point through your right foot for tree. Left foot is flexed. And here we go. So you lift the head, you look down your midline, bring your left hand to the back of the right leg, pull yourself up. Try to hold both legs where they are. And you come up to sit up as tall as you can. Right? Try to balance on your sits bones. Maybe lift the leg a little higher if you can. Bend the knee if necessary. And then as you pull your waist down, you're bringing your hands to follow your spine towards the floor. Reach out through both legs. Pet the cat if she showed up. And then stretch the arms down at your side. And then let's lift again. Slide the arms forward. It's the opposite hand that comes first to the leg. Then you pull your body up. Come up and sit upright. Balance here on your sits bones. And now we go back again. So you start with the low back. And as you pull yourself down with your spine, the arms follow you down. Arms press down at your side to open your chest. And we lift one last time with this leg coming up. This is called tree. The leg up in the air should look like a tree, like floating out in a diagonal out of the ground. Now from this point, bend the elbows, lift the leg, give it more stretch, and exhale, reach it forward. And again, lift here and exhale down. Ideally, both hands to the leg. I'm using one hand to pet my cat since she did show up. And then we leave the leg up in the air. Eventually, the arms are forward, hands free. Keep reaching out with the arms. Squeeze the arms around the side of the rib cage as you go down, so you have connection from your serratus into your obliques. And now we press the arms at the side, lift the leg for the advanced circles. So in the advanced circles, we bring the right leg over the body, pick up the right hip, waist, and ribs, keep the shoulder blade down, circle the leg low, out to the side, rotate it externally, bring it up to the top in neutral, and circle again. Spiral your hip off the ground while keeping the chest parallel to the ceiling. And reach again here. Exhaling all the way around, out to the side and lift the leg. 2 more. Push the air aside like you're moving through water. The right side is mobile, fluid. It flows off the ground and back onto it. And one last circle in this direction. Feel that lovely stretch across your hip and into the low back. Come to the top and reverse. The right leg goes sideways to the right, goes low. Now as you bring it across, the right side flows off the ground. You bring it back up. As the hip goes down, the leg reaches to the sky. And go longer each time. You're trying to draw a circle in the air that reaches further and further from the center of your body. Notice that you still keep the left side heavy. It should not be rocking on and off the mat, though the right leg will spiral back on and off. One more here. Circle all the way around and lift the leg up. Good. And now from here, we scissor switch the legs. So as the right one goes down, the left one lifts. Flex the right foot, left leg in a point. It's a little bit forward so you can come up to meet it. So now we come up, lift your head, neck, and shoulders, right hand to the back of the left leg, tree on the left side. Come all the way up, rise here, try to bring your body as vertical as possible. Eyes on the horizon to the inside of your leg, and then curl back with the spine, flow back into the ground. Keep pushing both legs forward and away from you, hand by hand to the upper thigh. And then we do this again. So lifting the head up, look down your midline, hand to the opposite leg, avoid the back of the knee. Your psoas picks you up. You float your head high at the end. And now we roll back, curve the tail forward, move your sits bones forward and narrow them in as you roll down. You're pressing your hand firmly into your leg and your leg firmly into your hands. So you feel that connection from your arm to your center. And one more time. Let's lift to come up here. Growing taller, try to arch the low back if possible. And as you sit here, lift the leg, bend the elbows, bend the knee as necessary. Eventually you'd like to keep it as straight as possible. But it's more important to get the better stretch in the back of the thigh than it is to have a straight leg. All right, and then we release the arms if you can, stretch the fingers and the legs forward and away from you. Curl the back, roll all the way down here. Sink your body into the ground, imprint it down in a straight line from the tail to the head. And then we lift the leg and we circle, bringing the left side off the ground here, and then around you go. The shoulder girdle stays grounded. You get that spiraling action through your hip, waist, and ribs. Eventually, you'd like to think about your hips being parallel to the wall while the chest stays parallel to the ceiling. Spin off the ground and roll back. You get a nice diagonal massage across your back, and one more in this direction. Bring the leg up to the ceiling. There's the hamstring stretch again. Reverse out to the side and exhale low, across and lift. Anchor the right side down before the leg moves to the left. And then peel the left side off following the foot. Reaching out again. The leg should be taking up as much space in the room as possible, while being sure that your body is doing, your torso is doing what you're asking it to. All right, we're going to come around to the top again. And then let's fold that knee into your chest and roll forward and up for rolling like a ball. Come up, balance at the front third of your mat. Hands to your shins, elbows wide, look down. Inhale, lift the tail to roll just to your shoulder blades. Head off the ground, exhale, rolling forward to balance on your sacrum, and we rock. Inhale back, exhale forward. Ideally, the exhale should start when the tip of the blades touch the ground, so that you then are carried forward on the exhalation back to where you want to be, sitting on your sacrum. We'll do one more like this. If you use the right and left side of your body equally, you should roll in a straight line up and down the mat. Now from here, we move to the ab series. Right leg in, left leg forward, right hand to the ankle. Pull that leg in tight. And inhale, let's switch the legs. And exhale, switch again. They move like pistons here. One going straight out of the socket, the other going straight into your chest wall. Really push down with your hands and up with your shins. Now at this level, the knees are coming in closer and the heels are kind of down, like almost laying on your thigh or your glute, but you still have a feeling of the shin pushing up into the hands, so you feel more connected through your arms and through your core. Bring both knees in, double leg stretch. Most advanced, the toes go down, they slide out as you reach the arms back, you pick the toes up to eye level, and then you bring everything in. And you hold on to those legs again, and you stretch out and pull it back. Now, if that's too much for your body, you can just take the arms and legs out on a diagonal away from each other and still circle wide and embrace. Stretch out again, reach, and circle, hug in. One more. Whichever version you do, be sure your back is happy with it. And then right leg up for scissors, left leg forward, and we switch and switch again. You shoot the legs long away from you. If you need to fold the knee a little bit as you bring the leg up to the ceiling, that's just hamstring length. No worries, bend the knee as necessary. Try to reach up high on your leg and look down your midline again. Let's end with the left leg up. Both legs rise. Interlace your fingers or fold them over each other. Pull the head up for double leg lower lift. The legs reach away. And exhale and lift. Take that out to your working level. Feel it. You don't want to feel your back arch. You want to feel your abs really engage against the weight of your legs. The abs work to stabilize your torso, while the psoas deep down next to your spine works to pay out to take the legs away, and then connects and contracts to pick the legs up. Now we twist to the right, come up and around, and then to the left. Pull your upper shoulder off the ground and balance on the tip of the lower one. The legs remain going forward and back. They're not flailing wildly to the side. You try to maintain the control through your hips, anchoring them down onto the ground. Last time to the left, come back to center, lay yourself down, Slide the legs forward and the arms back. And then we're rolling up for spine stretch. Lifting the arms, head, neck, and shoulder. Come up, open the legs, lift the arms by your ears. And you're vertical here with your body. Sit on a cushion if you need to. Turn the palms back, look up at your hands. This is non-traditional. We're adding an upper back extension. Notice that the lower part of the back is still vertical from 90 degrees from the legs. And the upper part of the back goes backwards in extension. And then we turn the palms forward, look down. Head leads you out, over and down. Bring your body out over the space between your legs. Stretch it long. Still suck the belly up into your spinal curves and then push down to rise. Lifting again here. Take the upper back arch. Remember, we don't want to fall away from your legs. It's still 90 degrees from the pelvis to the thighs. And then forward, over you go. Curve the body down here, stretch it out. Press down to rise and lift. Take that arch. And forward. Now hold on to your legs, pull your waist back. Get that nice stretch there. And then we're folding the legs in for open leg balance and rocker. So hold on to the inside of your ankles, arms inside your legs, feet off the ground. Both legs up, stretch them, and exhale, pull them down. You should be looking at your navel. I'm checking the screen out to see what you all are doing. Looking good. And pull it back. Now lift the legs again, hold the legs in the air, push the legs forward into your arms, straight arms, lift your tail, roll back to your shoulders. Exhale forward to your balance point and bring it back. Pull on your blades and then come back onto your sacrum. Inhale back, exhale forward. You need the exhale to lift. Ideally still looking down your midline. Hold the legs together in the air here, pull them close. Reach the arms up and we roll the low back, the mid back, the upper back, the shoulders, the neck, the head down. Lift the legs. Now this is the advanced corkscrew, which if you're not doing it, you just circle the legs from to one side, then to the other, and then reverse it. We went over the whole exercise in an earlier video. So you may remember we're going to take the legs forward a little bit and then jackknife up through center. So you bring the legs up and then you push the feet up as high as you can towards the ceiling, standing on your shoulders and not on your neck. Now you'll tip your waist and your hips to the right. Your spine stays centered on the midline of the mat and you go down the right side of your rib cage, down the right side of your waist, the right side of your hips. Hips touch, you circle the legs over to the right, forward. Now spiral your pelvis to the left, the legs move left, bring them almost all the way back up and then you lift through center. It's helpful to me to think about the feet drawing a shape in the space above me that looks like a raindrop or a teardrop. So now we twist to the left, go down on the left side. Circle the legs. It's a big bulb at the bottom, so a big circle at the bottom. Then you narrow it in, bring it almost all the way in. It's still on the tilt. And as you go up, you lift and you center the legs right over your sternum. And now we go down on the right because we just came up on the right. Lower down, really press to the arms, engage your lats. Circle the legs, the hips will tilt here. Going around, across the hips, roll across the sacrum, bring the legs to the left, come up and in and lift. And then we go right down on the left side again. Tip the pelvis. So while the chest is still facing the ceiling, the hips are trying to face the wall. You circle around, so your hips now face the opposite wall. Put almost all the way in. This is going to be the last time up, lift up through center. Toes over your third eye. And now bring it slowly down, press into the arms, resist gravity. And as you lower, you'll open the legs, come up to sitting for saw. Extend the arms out to the side, hands a little in front of the chest. Inhale, grow tall. Exhale, rotate to the right, diving over. Stretch the arms away from each other, reach long through your fingertips. Pull your body up, center here, and then spin to the left. Dive over and stretch. The opposite hip sinks into the ground. Lift coming up. Center and spiral, twist, turn, and dive, reach. Lift to come up, center here, and we dive and we stretch along. Try to keep opening up that back shoulder to the ceiling behind you. And one more set. Now in this one, it's super important that your low back feels happy with this exercise because it's loaded flexion on a diagonal. So you would be sitting on a pad if that's necessary for you to feel fine in your low back while you do this. Coming up and then lower the arms down. Legs together, flip over onto your stomach now for your swan. In yesterday's class, we practiced a standing swan. The main focus of that was to think that you're pulling forward with the chest, elongating the abdominal line in order to feel the support through your transversus to protect your back. So we'll think of the same thing here. Your hands by your armpits. Reach the legs back, but pull the chest forward and then lift up. The arms support you, but also the back muscles pick you up. Be sure to look up and then release it down a little bit at a time. You're coming out of the stretch in the abdominal line, jaw to tail. And again, push the mat away from you, come up, arching the back, and then reaching down. You should feel that stretch in the abdominal wall until it's time for it to release. One more to lift, and on the third lift, we're going to do some kind of a dive. So you lift, I'm doing catch and release. So I pick up the hands and I lift my legs in the air. Think of your body like a rocking chair rocker. And then sit in a child's pose. Stretch your back, let your forehead hang down, curve your spine, lengthen it. And then forward, right onto your forearms for a single leg kick. Again, you're not collapsed here through your shoulders. This is active. You push the arms into the floor. You pull back with your elbows and fists. You pull up with the chest and eyes. Kick the right heel in. Pulse 1, 2, and down. Now the left. Double beat. And down. Now the right. We're trying to open the hips and the quads so that the pelvis stays stable on the ground as you pulse. You can see if your hip flexors are too tight, thank you, all the sitting we're doing on Zoom, that would mean that your butt would be bouncing up and down as you kick. You want to really press it into the ground to help you open up and minimize the bounce as you continue to stretch your psoas open. Let's end with a beat to the left. Lay yourself down, turn your head to the right, overlap your hands high on the back and drop your elbows low. Take a deep breath in to stretch. As you exhale, 3 beats, both legs. Pulse 1, 2, 3. Push the feet into the ground, reach the arms back, lengthen out through the fingertips, go down, turning left, elbows fall, and pulse 2, 3. Legs into the floor, reach back here, and down you go to turn right. Try to drop your elbows and move your scapula away from your spine there. Press the legs down, keep them firmly anchored. If the hands are too high, that'll drop your body low. And we pulse again. Last time, we lift to rise. Bring your hands underneath you, come up, child's pose again. Take that bow, forehead down, look underneath your chest. Snap your spine from the bottom to the top, turn it around so your feet stay where they are at that end of the mat. And we open the legs out, hip width, neck pull. So from here, we'll take the hands behind the head, pull the skull up, and then lean back, tip back, tuck when you need to. You can pull the arms forward, you roll your spine down. Coming up, you can press your fist into your hand, coming forward, exhale, lift over, hands behind your head, dive over, stretch the spine out, and lift to bring it up. And then back we go again. Roll it out here, curve your way down. Now eventually you build the strength to keep your elbows out to the side here as you lift. I'm not there today, so I'm going to take my hands to the hand to fist, pull it up here. It requires both strength in the upper abdominals and hip flexor strength. Diving over, and then articulate up. And let's do that again. Lean it back, tuck and roll it down. We'll stay here, and then we'll slide forward a little bit for scissors and bicycle. So you might want to just think about this for a second. I'd like to slow down the pace for a minute here. So this is done in your jackknife position with your hips elevated in the air. So let me show you this first, right? So you pull the legs in, lift the legs. You can go over low initially, and then lift your feet up in the air. And then you support your hips with your hands. So the heel of your hands is into the pelvic bones of your pelvic girdle. And then you try to keep lifting up through the feet and the tailbone without going onto your neck. Now, what you want to do is you think about stretching the right leg out and down, leaving the left leg in the air. Now, that's the most advanced position here. And then you lift it and bring it on up, bring it to the other leg. Now, when you first learn it, the chances are good that as the leg goes forward, the other leg goes back. So that gives you a lovely stretch in your hips. It's easier for the core because you're counterweighting your legs in opposition to each other. So eventually, you want to think about, as you switch the legs, you're not going to be taking the leg back over your shoulder and towards your face, but the focus, and see how this way my upper leg is staying more directly to the ceiling. But what you're really trying to do is think about holding one leg up and pushing the other leg out and away. So you're suspended here, you're pushing down on your elbows, but you still have a lift up through your pelvis with a lift through the lifted leg's foot. And then bring it on up. This takes a while to organize in your body. So do whichever version is better for you, but you might think about opening the shape. So instead of having it like so much like the legs almost like open parallel to the ground, you're going to think about trying to take them even a little bit more, one leg back slightly and the other leg more forward, until eventually you get to the point where the one leg stays vertical and the other leg reaches out and away, or as vertical as you can in your mind, right? And then lift to pull it up. Good. Let's just take a little break here. Arms to your side, roll down. So that's a very advanced exercise. It takes a lot of practice to keep the pelvis elevated while you're working those legs. And it takes a lot of hip opening to carry that off too. So all that develops over time as you continue your practice. And it's so interesting, right? Because everyone does different things at different times, depending on what's right for their body and what's like hard for their body. So some things we all do really well and other things we have to work on for years. So kind of understand that going into it. So now we're going to go up into the bicycle. So again, you lift the legs up and out, push the arms. You can go over low or you can go over high with the legs, in which case they would have ended up here on the lift. And now again, once you feel that lift through your feet, you're taking your hands. So you really support the heel of your hand, supports the back of the pelvic girdle, feel bone to bone. You don't want to have a lot of compression in your wrists. So you still have energy going up through your feet and up through your tailbone, like your legs are flames reaching up into the sky and smoking up into the sky above you. Now for the bicycle, just like it sounds, one leg goes forward, you bend the knee and pull it back in, and as it returns, the other leg reaches up, out, and down. And again, I'm trying to keep my legs forward and not over my face. But again, when you first start, it's definitely more like one leg goes back and the other forward. Sorry, the equipment's getting a little bit in my line of movement. But you are looking to see like how much you can open your hips eventually, right? Without like totally collapsing into your wrist. And then after you've done a few of these, you backpedal. You want to think, eventually you're thinking like you're trying to reach for the floor with the extended leg, opening the hip and reaching low before you scoop the air up. It's a lot of work. And then we're going to lift both legs up to the ceiling. Let's take the arms at the side and roll your spine down. Next time we'll look at the advanced transition into the bridge. But right now, just lower your feet down to the ground. Maybe pull your knees into your chest for a second. And then lower your feet down. We start with the feet grounded, the arms at your side. Begin with the pelvic tuck, pull the knees forward, lift the hips. Coming up, now at the top, you're going to pull the shoulder blades together by pushing the top of the shoulders to the floor and rolling slightly to the outside of the arm. From here, we stretch let's pull the right knee in, lift the foot up to the ceiling, point the foot and lower the foot down, flex the foot and bring the heel high. Point to go down and flex to go up. Point, reach down, flex, lift. We do 3. Point the foot, bend the knee, replace the foot parallel to the other one. Pick up that hip if it's dropped, which chances are it has. And now we pull the left knee into your chest. Now feel the left side is cantilevered off the right. As you lift through the knee and then lift through the foot, that elevates this left hip off the ground. And now we point long, flex to come up. Point, reach it out, flex and lift it. One more. Try to keep the butt off the floor here. Head points, nose points up to the ceiling. Bend your knee, lower the foot, elevate the hips, square them off. And now from here, roll to the inner arm, the top of the shoulders, reach off the mat a little bit as you curve your spine down from the back of the neck all the way down to the tail. You'll rock your body back into a neutral spine position. The next bridge is just a regular one, no kicks. So we start with the pelvic curl, tip the tail up, push down through your legs and your arms, push forward with the knees, elevate your hips here. Use a ton of glute to lift up as you pick up your rib cage, lift into thoracic extension, then roll to the inner arm to come out of thoracic extension, round your upper back. Be sure you do that, otherwise you end up like dropping halfway down the spine to the ground first. We're really trying to sequence every single vertebra from the top to the tail. Go down and let the tail sink. And now we're going up for the second set of kicks. So we start with the pelvic tuck. You push down and back with your feet. You push forward and up with your knees. At the end, push the top of the shoulders down, lift the heart, expand it. And now pull the left knee in, extend the foot high to the ceiling, flex the foot to lower it down, point the foot to lift it. Flex, go forward and out long, point, lift the leg up. One more, flex down. Keep trying to use your glutes to keep the hips elevated. Point the foot, bend the knee, lower the foot. Pelvis is level now. Make it so if it isn't. And then let's pull the right knee in, lift the heel up. So we start with the foot flexed here. Flex to go down, then point to lift it up. That's reverse of the first set. Flex down and point, lift. Flex down and point high. Bend your knee, lift your hip, lower the foot, but keep the hip in the air. And now we roll to the inner arms and you let your rib cage fall to the ground between the arms, all the way down to the waist, to the hips, to the tail, and settle. All right, next we come up for spine twists. You can pull one leg in, go forward and up. Legs extend here. Extend the arms out to the side, and we'll press down with the armpit, reach up with the chest. Rotate to the right. Keep your feet in the same plane as you twist and pulse 1, 2, 3. Lift to center and then to the left. It's very common when people start this exercise that the hips will twist. We don't want to see that. We want to try to keep the two pelvic halves in the same plane as you rotate. Back to center and again, spiraling here. The arms shoot long out of the socket. Your energy flows out through your fingertips and across the room. Think of your body like a sprinkler system and sprinkle that water through the whole space around you. Come back to center and lower the arms down to lay down on your back for jackknife. So you work your spine down. And you want to be sure you don't just roll the legs and the hips up in the air on the way down. You want to actually start with the legs down and then maybe choose. You can either fold the knees in or lift the straight legs off the ground. Bring the legs up and bring them forward to a little bit of a working level here, because that's going to help you. Then we're going to push down. The more advanced jackknives, you go up on a higher angle. So instead of going low, you take the legs up as high as you can initially, squeeze the legs together, gazes up and back. Don't look at your feet. Look at the space above and behind you, and roll the spine down, reach the legs out to your working level. And then we're going to bring it up again. Working level is like where you can go without feeling your back arch. And down, down, down. Delay your descent, push down into your hands, push down into your shoulders, push down into your arms. The legs reach out. They're still tracking along your central axis, coming up again. Push and lift here. And then let's bring it on down. Stretch the legs forward. Now here we typically in the whole series would go right onto our sides for the side kicks. Because we only have 45 minutes per class and this whole series takes an hour at a blazing pace, we're going to skip the side kicks and start next with your teaser here. So we're going to do a couple more workshops on some of these more advanced exercises. So here for the teaser, pull your knees into your chest, lift the legs up towards the ceiling and out slightly. The palms are up, you slide the hands forward and you curl forward. You can use your hands to the back of your legs to lift up into your first teaser Keep the legs in the air. As you curl the tail up and round the low back, bring the torso to the ground. Lift the legs higher to protect your back if you need to, or fold the knees in. And then we lift again. You also, while you learn this, you could practice with a TheraBand around your feet to pull your body up and then to release you down. But eventually you're trying to do it without having the props. Also, hand weights would make it easier too. So lift again, one more. Squeeze the arms in around your rib cage to engage those upper abdominals and pull yourself up. From this point, the legs lower slightly and lift 3 times. Bend your knees if it's too much load for your back. And then we take the whole shape down. You push the feet away. As you go down, you want your heels and your shoulders and your head to go all down at the same time. And then your arms at your side, full teaser up. So we look forward. You scoop the arms low, squeeze the arms in along the chest, bring yourself up to your full teaser, and then tuck. It's important to start moving the spine first, then let the legs catch up and lower down so everything lowers together. And we do that once more. If you want, the hands can slide along the legs to help you. Now from here, bend your knees just for a second. So we're going to do an advanced variation for teaser next. What happens here is that the legs are going to circle to the right, down and around and to the left. And while you're doing that, the arms are circling in the opposite direction. So it takes a bit of time to figure this out. I'm going to see if I can actually do it facing the screen a little bit so you can see what's going on with the limbs from here. So you're up, the legs go one direction, the arms in the other, everything lowers, comes around and lifts and then reverse. Legs in one direction, arms in the other, scoop low, pull it together and lift it up. And I have to tell you, this takes a while to just figure out the choreography. And it's helpful to do this, like practice it with your knees bent. And then after a couple of sets, you can just teaser on out of it. I didn't have room to teaser back, so I folded and just came down. But you can totally practice this with your back against a wall, or maybe even use, like the back of your sofa or something. I'm going to see if I can press like this yoga bolster in. So then what you could do, you could lean back against whatever support you have and then tuck your tail, curl the tail up, bend the knees in. Start practicing by taking the knees to one side and draw a circle here. See if that's okay for your back. And if it is, you can then try the arms in the opposite direction and then reverse here. So I could be against a wall, I could be against the base of my sofa or a big club chair or something. Or here I'm pressing the bolster into support so that my shoulder blades are connected to the bolster and my waist is still dropping here in a hammock. All right, so something to play with. And I want to look next at, I think really, let's look at going into a plank, right? So we're going to skip kind of at the end of the series. Pilates Advanced Mat ends with a series of planks and push-ups. So the first thing is to really figure out how to do a good plank. If your wrists are tricky, definitely go onto your forearms. I'm going to demo with my straight arms. So you would start standing. I just make it here standing on this elevated surface. What you want to do is take your legs into turnout, heels together, toes apart. Arms would lift up and overhead. I hit the ceiling, but if I was on the floor, I wouldn't. And then you're going to dive forward. So you do a standing roll down, just like the roll down we did at the beginning of class here, but on the mat. Your head dives down. You can bend your knees as necessary, right? So if you can't get your palms to the ground, bend your knees and go down until you can. And then what you'll do is you walk your hands out one by one. You're like a big jungle cat walking through the jungle paths. If you're wearing bracelets, shake them out of the way. And then we're coming forward. Now the plank, you want to think about being in an elongated line here. So your head, your shoulders, your tail, and your heels are all on a straight line on an incline. Just feel that. Now as you push down with your hands and down with your feet, you're also squeezing the legs together. Pull the head forward and the chest forward as you pull the tail back. And now you should feel that you've really engaged all the muscles possible. From here, we're just going to pike up, lift the tail, push the arms away from you, and then pick up one hand, walk it back, pick up the other hand, walk it back. Come all the way down, hang your head low, stretch out the back line, and then you sink your tail and you curve your spine up, bring the arms eventually forward and up by the ears till you're standing up tall. So here's what we usually see in the planks, right? So let's say you've done your standing roll down all the way down to the ground. And what a lot of people do, and many times they're taught this in exercise classes or in yoga, is to keep the tailbone slightly up. So the reason that they do that is that in a large class, they can be pretty sure that people's backs will be safe. However, if you really go forward and reach long, like pull your head and your heels away from each other, your connective tissue wraps around your core to hold you strong and straight here. Of course, you could always go to your knees and practice there too. Now, it's really useful when you do this to push down through the heel of your hand and drag the armpits back, engaging your serratus, lat, and then connecting into your external obliques here. That's going to give you the support you want in your upper body. The lower body is supported by the legs squeezing tight and also by that elongation through the entire spine. What you don't want to see is, or feel, is this position where you're just like sagging here into the ground. Because now I'm just like my arms are holding me up and everything else is just collapsing. And that's not going to be good. You're not going to be able to access your arms for your push-ups. And you could actually get into your back in a way that's not helpful for your spine. So start practicing your planks if it's not part of your regular routine. Super exercise to really strengthen the whole core. It can be tricky on the wrist. So we also suggest that when you do this, if you have wrist issues, you may want to, like mainly we're talking about them being tight. So if they're tight and it bothers you to put weight onto them, one way that is helpful for a lot of people is that they can roll up a towel or just fold one, have the heel of the hand on the towel and the fingertips on the floor. So that takes the wrist into less of an extreme flexion. And you can practice just standing onto your arms in quadruped first, maybe take one leg back, shift more weight into it, see how that feels for you. If you feel okay, try both legs out and pull your body long. Legs squeezing together also helps your low abs engage. The transversus will knit together if you do that. This is a lifted feeling in the body because you're pushing down into the ground. All right, so we'll play with this next time again. Thank you so much for taking the class, and I hope that was fun and you had a chance to practice some things maybe you didn't